Hello, in this video we will show you a little bit more about the new functionalities in Google Sheets of the past quarters. In this video we will show you how slicers work, how scorecards work, and how you can use themes in Google Sheet. So maybe a quick introduction. So let's say that you have a set of data. In this case, we have some demo sales data, and you want to make a nice dashboard out of this. The first thing you will probably do is maybe create a pivot table of this data. First thing that I'm going to do is to create the pivot table, and then I want to understand the total sales data, total sales per segment per state, for example. So here I will put in the rows, I will put the state. Then in the columns, I want to see the segments. And then next off, of course, I want to see the total sales data. So I want to see the values and the totals of the total sales. Now, what I want to do is that I want to create this a little bit cleaner. So I have my pivot table in my sheet. Next up, I would like to have a scorecard with the total sales. So I will go back here. And then I will scroll to the column where it states that there is a total sales. So I select the total sales column. You can do this multiple ways, but in this case, I will just do insert and I will click on chart. Then it's going to propose me a specific chart, but then I'm going to change this setup. And I'm going to go and scroll down to scorecards. Basically, scorecards are just a figure that you want to display. You can potentially also set it off against a previous year, but I want to have the aggregate and I want to see the total sum of the sales data. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and I'm going to copy this chart because I want to have this in my dashboard. So let's say that I'm going to put my total sales figure, I'm going to put it here. Voila. Next up, so I have created a scorecard. I have my pivot table. Next up, I potentially also want to have another chart. Let's say that I want to see the totals per category. So I'm going to insert another chart in regards to the categories. So I'm going back to insert. I'm going to charts here. And this looks pretty good in my opinion. Or I can also, I think it's perfect. I can also do a pie chart. Let's take the pie chart. And let's copy this one because I also want to have this in my dashboard. So voila, let's say that my dashboard is finished, and now I want to quickly be able to filter on specific values. So in this case, what I think it might be interesting for me is to be able to filter on the cities or filter on the states, and also filter on the segments. So for this, I'm going to create slicers. The way you create slicers is that you can best select your entire data set. So I'm going to select my entire data set. I'm going to data, and then I'm going to go to slicer. And then I just highlight on which I want to create my slicer. So in this case, I think when I go back to here, I think segment is a good one to do a slicer upon. Voila. So I have my segment here. In this case, I also want to copy my slicer, and I also want to put it here in my overview. So this is, voila. I'm going to put my slicer right here. Another thing I think it might be interesting to filter on is the ship mode. So let's say that I'm going to create a new slicer. First of all, I'm going to select my entire data set again. I'm going to data slicer, and then I'm going to put ship mode in here. And then again, I'm going to copy my slicer and I'm going to put it in my overview. So what the slicer does might be just good to know. and just so you understand what it does. But if I go to my slicer, I can now very easily filter, and let's say I only want to see the data for the corporate segment. And in this case, even my pivot table changes, my scorecard changes, and also my pie chart changes immediately. That's one way. Of course, if you do the same for ship mode, let's say I only want to see everything related to second class ship mode, voila, it's going to change my entire dashboard again. Okay, so slicers can be very handy for these types of dashboards. Now, last but not least, and also an interesting one, but one of the themes have already been applied to the sheet, as you can see, but just might be interesting to understand where you can find the themes. The themes are just a quick way to make your dashboard a little bit cleaner. You go to Format, and then you go to Themes, and then there is you can select out of a multitude of different themes, and it just changes the layout of your dashboard a little bit, which makes it prettier. So voila, this was a quick overview of all the new functionalities in Google Sheets. Makes it very helpful to create beautiful dashboards in your sheet. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.